Hello, everyone. Today with me is Dr. Shilpa Sani, and she's originally from India, from Punjab. And I'm really fortunate to talk to her because she's one of the few candidates who applied for the first time and got accepted to three schools until now: UIC, uh, UIC, Nova, and UCSF, right? And
Yes.
there are about six schools where she got waitlisted. And I think it's a big thing, like for your first cycle, getting acceptance to three schools and getting waitlisted at even six schools. Like this is a big success number. And I would like to talk to her, ask her some questions today to know what things help her to achieve this success in her first cycle, and maybe we will be able to gather some points for people who are currently applying or reapplicants or in similar boat as you, and go from there. So thank you, Doc, for your time today.
Thank you, doctor, for giving me opportunity to help others through my experience.
Good. So Doc, first of all, congrats to you and your family for getting so many acceptance in your first cycle.
Thank you so much.
And also the wait list is better than rejection. So my first question is, Doc, you're originally from India. You graduated in 2013, right?
14.
14. So we kind of like the same. I graduated around that time too. So you practiced general dentistry about for 8 years in India before coming to US.
Yes,
Okay.
almost 8 years.
And you didn't do any MDS or anything like that. You were
Nothing,
mostly doing
nothing.
general dentistry, right? Okay.
Yes,
And after that, you came to US. And when you came to US in 2021, right?
2022.
So when you came to 22, what things did you started doing? What was your journey like?
When I came to 20 in like to US in 2022, the most I would say the difficult time for me because I was pregnant at that time,
Mhm.
and I I then still I did some things like I did dental assisting course, and then I did certifications to get a job. And because I have to take some break because my pregnancy was like little not easy one, so I had some complications. So I took some break. But at that time, I start like completing all the things which were needed.
Mhm.
So after that, when I had my baby, I remember my husband. He's a really pushy one, I think, which helped me to like get so many interviews and acceptance, because when I just delivered a baby within a week, he just uh, uh, I would
Encourage
say
you to
register for the
encourage.
exam INBD.
Yep, he encouraged you to take your exam. Now,
Yeah.
since you got accepted, we would use the word encouragement because
Yeah.
whatever he did worked for you. And here's a question. So I had a lot of candidates, like mostly the candidates recently reach out to me are currently going through like family phases where they had kids or currently planning or stuff like that. And that's a very common thing they tell me on call. And uh, I'm not a woman, so I can't understand everything. I know there's a lot of postpartum fact, there's a lot of emotional like stuff as well. You go through a lot of physical trauma, you're trying to recover, and you have a lot of responsibility, and you change. That's what I've read, that's what I've learned. You change as a person, and then going through this really stressful journey, what were the key things that motivated you? Now I have to get out, I have to do professional thing, I have to pass the exam while you have a young baby with you. So how was that? How were you able to do that, or what were the things that helped you?
Yeah, I think what helped me was like when I just saw my baby, I was like, okay, one day he's gonna ask me what I do and what I'm gonna tell him.
Hmm.
So I think that was the major point. I have to do whatever I have to do just to like get admission in dental school here. So I just started preparing for exams, and I think one big thing matters a lot in everybody's journey is like family support, and I got that.
Good. Okay. And physically, like I know like physically you get there's a lot there's a lot of physical stress that you bear.
Yeah.
Was there something like you did to overcome stress part? Because all of us immigrants, and like it's your own negative thought, the self doubt that keeps haunting you. Oh, I'm too old, I'm too young, I don't have experience, maybe I lack this, my TOEFL is not good. Like we all have some kind of self doubt. So when that start coming, like how Was there anything that helped you overcome that? And I'm
Yes,
asking this.
actually, yeah. I would like to answer this question because in my journey, what I did when I was like working on my application or I was like preparing for the exams, what I did, I just cut off myself from the people who are like giving you some negative vibes. Because what happened, no one understand who are like who is not in dentistry, that how many exams you have to give and what you have to like come here and do, and they're going to ask some simple question, okay, you are dentist in India and why it's taking so long.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
so it's better to just avoid these people, just
yes.
to like work on your things. And yes, what other things helped me, like I love to do yoga and it helped me a lot.
Okay, that's good. Good to hear that. So a lot of people who are currently going this through this process, mainly female who are mothers or going through pregnancy, this is something that is helpful. So did you knew at that time like I'm gonna get these 3 acceptance in my first cycle and all of this, and even getting like about what like 7, 8, 9 interviews? You thought you're gonna get all of this? Did you imagine this?
No, not at all. Because even till March, I was not ready to like apply to the schools. Because even I haven't given, I think till March 2nd, I haven't given my TOEFL.
Oh, okay. How much
So
was your
what I was,
TOEFL exactly? I don't remember it right now. How much was it?
I got almost 101 marks.
Okay, that's reasonably good. A lot of people reach out to me and ask, I got 103, 101, is it good? And I usually say, yeah, it's decent enough. And you are a very good example. So, along with your TOEFL score, did you do dental assisting after you pass your exams? What things did you do?
Yes, yes. Whenever like after like giving my INBD exam, I start searching for the job when my baby was almost around 8 months. When I was like, okay, he's like can my mother-in-law can take care of my baby now, and I have time to like start searching jobs. So I started with the dental assisting job, and I think one other thing I think helped me a lot. I got promotion within 2 months in my dental assisting job. I become supervisor there.
Okay.
So yeah.
And overall, how much experience did you had for dental assisting? A year and a half?
Yeah, almost 1 year, I would say.
One. So usually I tell people dental schools like to see at least 1 year of dental experience, which you had. And what about your volunteer work?
I did, I think, a lot of volunteering. When I just came to US, I did
Which
a lot
places?
of community work.
Which places?
Right.
Which places?
I think there is one organization which is known as Healing California. I did
Hmm.
work with them,
Hmm.
and there is like community work with Sikh American awareness events. I did with them. I also went to like American Red Cross. I also
Good,
worked with them.
good. I think that's a very strong point. And especially you're coming from a Sikh background and community work is a big part. The seva, the concept of seva is a very big part. And I think that was a strong point too, because people would do just one thing and say, hey, I did like Red Cross. But when somebody has done so many multiple things, that really show this person is involved in community work. And I remember during our interview preparation, that's
Yes.
something I was saying, like you should definitely focus on, tell them this is my background is, I've been taught this since my early age, and that should be a strong backbone. So the next question is, when what do you think in, I want to know your perspective, when you were applying and you applied to 30 schools, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes,
So
almost
the
30 years.
so the viewers who are watching this is a person coming from India, is a mother, got out of pregnancy, has a family, and obviously applying to 30 school. How much approximately it costed you throughout this CAAPID
I
process
think
to
all that process, like with the interviews and like moving around from one state to another state for the bench
getting
exam,
coachings and
it
stuff? Yeah.
yeah, and all that stuff. I think it costed me almost like $60,000.
So about $60,000 in her first year, and including she reached out to me for coaching. She was going for bench exams. She was like applying to 30 school is a big amount, and even telling making your spouse understand like I'm investing so much money even before I get into school is crazy. So, but for the people who are watching this, they need to understand the reason she was able to nail so many interviews and invites is because she casted her net big. You don't want to go in and say I'm going to apply to 5 school. If you're going to go in, apply to a lot of schools because the opportunity of getting invite is higher. I know people who have a lot of good profile, but they don't apply to enough schools, and then the chances become narrow and narrow. So that's a very important point. So,
So I
Doc.
would like to add to this point, because I remember I have some of my friends, and what happened, because I told you earlier that I was not prepared till March that I am going to apply to this cycle or not,
Mhm.
because I was doing job, I have baby, and I haven't given my TOEFL yet, and I was not sure that I have all that things, because some people told me like, you don't have any master here, you don't have this, you don't have that. So even I like some of my mentors, like from where I took some advices, they told me like it's not that much good profile, and I would say
Who
just
was
don't
those?
listen.
What
Yeah,
those
I took some
mentors?
like helps, and like with couple
Okay.
of people. I would say I will not take the name of those organizations or whatever. So I would say don't listen to those people. Just make your mind whenever you gather all the stuff which is like, I would say the basic stuff which is needed for the application, and then go
Exams.
for it.
Yeah.
If you are applying, then don't apply only to 4 and 5 school to see that if you get any interview or not. Just apply to most of the schools, whatever you can, how many schools you can, because that's important. Because
You,
even after applying to so many schools, not all schools have like invited me. I got almost 30% schools.
okay, that's still big, dog. That's they. I've known people who would apply to 20 school and get two, but all we need is one acceptance, right?
Yeah.
So here's the question: if you will go back, so right now I encourage people, like if you're gonna apply, like we are right now in December,
Hmm.
January, like start preparing. If you go back in time, would you advise people, like with your case, you were still thinking in March? But if you go back, would you advise yourself or a candidate to start preparing early on? Or what would be your advice regarding that?
Yes, definitely. I think it will be helpful, because I did some mistakes, but
Like,
I
yeah,
would say because I had so many chances, I had 10 interviews, which gave me a like a space to do the like mistakes and
that's
improve. But
that's a
sometimes
very
you
good
don't
point.
have that area, so
Yeah,
it's
so
better to start preparing early, because I think I did two mistakes which I thought I can like do early on. Even I was not prepared to apply. I haven't given my TOEFL like till March. So, and the third thing, I think should take a bench test earlier. And I took my bench test with Stevenson on, I think, in May. So I think if I
oh,
had like it
good.
earlier, it's gonna make a difference.
Thank you for pointing out that thing. Bench exam, I tell people I can prepare you for interviews in a week, in 2 weeks, but when it comes to muscle memory, somebody who has cut crowns over past 6 months and I started like a week ago, obviously his muscles are more used to, and you can't Google experience. Like
Mhm.
somebody whose hands are more experienced in cutting teeth, he will be better off in stressful situation, and bench exam situations are very stressful. You travel, like you're choking and all of that. So thank you for mentioning that. Any other mistake that you want to share with people that
Yes,
they
definitely.
can?
I got my first invitation with UAB, Alabama school, and
Mhm.
I got rejection there.
Okay.
That was my first rejection.
Okay.
And I remember, I would not say I got rejection like earlier, but they have not invited me for the interview. So I got like, okay, I did some mistakes. And I remember that because that was my first school. I was nervous. I did some mistakes, some silly mistakes. And moreover, because I'm a person who is introvert, who is not good in speaking, that's what I thought before. So
Mhm.
I was very confident about my bench exam because I had like 10-year experience. So I was confident on bench exams, not on my like speaking skills. And when
Mhm.
I got that like rejection, it was a heartbreaking moment for me. So I would say whatever come to your like journeys, you got some rejections or whatever, just keep working on your things and don't stop,
Okay.
because
Doc,
it's
so
you have to be consistent.
I'm sorry, I'm digging a little bit deeper because the reason I'm asking these questions so that people can understand, because people who are applying that don't even understand what it feels like to go in the interview, and you traveled from California to Alabama, and Alabama is a whole different state. The airport is different, the south, people wearing long boots and all of that, the accent is different, and you go in there like you didn't sleep well, the time difference and all of that. So what were, if you're comfortable sharing, what were the silly mistake that you noticed in the first time, and later on, how did you improve them?
Because in my case, because I have a baby and I'm being a mother, I don't want to leave my baby alone at home. So we were traveling with my baby. So like having a 5 to 6 hour flight, it's not a fun with a
Oh
baby.
yeah,
So
yeah.
and most of the time, what happened, because whenever we like have a flight, he's fussy, and I was not like able to get sleep before my interview or before my bench exam, which I felt it was like difficult for me to handle this like anxiety and baby at the same time. But yeah, my family helped me a lot. And what mistakes I did is like, because I told you I'm nervous, it's my first time, and sometimes you are like more overconfident, or you can say that okay, you have that experience, you can make it. Or but I would say when you have more experience, it's become difficult to make idle preparations.
Makes sense. Okay. Because you're overconfident in a way, because in your head you think I've done so much in practical world. But I tell people practical world is so much different than
Yeah.
academic, because there we are treating a human in a time, but this is academic world and they do things a little bit differently. So yeah,
And
you're right.
I would like to add here, because sometimes when you work on typhodonts, sometimes that mannequins, you can say that they don't move properly. Because I'm like a student here, I'm coming for like exam, and I'm nervous to ask some people or the like who is like watching you giving the exam to come again and again to just adjust it. And I did that mistake. My typhodont was not moving properly,
Okay.
and I was like doing the preparation with a very difficult position.
So here's next question I'm thinking. With have you figured out a school where you're going? Because right now you have Nova, UCSF, and UIC. Which school are you
Yes,
picking?
I'm going to pick UCSF because it's
Good.
really close to my home.
That's one thing, and otherwise, for other people, UIC is very expensive overall to live in Chicago to go. And as Nova is like almost 4 years of program. So overall, if I was you, I would do the same, even if it's not the location part, but it's a good decision. It's a good school. And you have enough training from your past. It's just about now getting your DDR license and going out in the practical world. So here's the next question. One thing you mentioned, taking Stevenson course was very helpful. And I tell people like, do it as early as I'm a big he doesn't pay me for this, but I respect the man
Yeah.
because he loves what he does and he's damn good at what he does. And I have high respect for him, even though he charges a lot, but he deserves every penny of it. But my next question is for the interview part, and I know you reach out to me later on. What were the things that you later on incorporated or changed or started doing that made your interviews better? And you're somebody who had, you made a very good point. I'm sorry I'm repeating you, because you said you had more room for error because you applied to many schools. And people need to understand she had the investment to apply to more schools, get more invite, and had the chance to make more mistakes and still get in. But by the end of the day, every mistake costs you money. And
Yes.
one of the things when I look back, I would rather learn early on so I don't have to pay for my mistakes. So that's one perspective. So, what things help you in the interview part later on, Doc?
So I would say yes, definitely the interview prep sessions with you helped me, because you told me like where I'm lacking and what are my strong points. So I should concentrate on my strong points and how I can improve on my weakest points. So, and other thing I would like to add here that sometimes your real life experience teach you better than the preparatory sessions. Definitely they help you. But when I went to the interviews, what mistakes I did here, I think that was more learning experience for me, because I did some mistake. I got to know, okay, I don't have to say that, or maybe I can represent myself better in that question or not. So I always come home and remember that questions and start preparing on them. Okay, how can I answer this question better?
But
I think,
what if a person, I know people who applied to 10 school and only got one invite. They only got one invite. In that case, who's preparing for their interview, what would be your suggestion on that case?
and I think the other thing that helped me a lot is a job, my dental assisting job, because you meet so many people and you like talk with them. Because a person like who came from India, I had like some language barrier also, and I think I improved over the time, because you can't learn a language in a single day or in a month. So it takes time. Even I'm not like, I can say that I'm like, sometimes I'm not able to impress myself in the second language, which I can do in my own language. So just keeps
So
like,
to rephrase what you say, I tell people we immigrants, we think in our home language
yeah,
and then
we
we
do.
translate it to English. And sometimes we are, I believe what I'm saying, other people can understand, but I don't realize when I convert it or translate it into English, it loses its essence. There's a lot of poetry or music, which if you change it to a different language, it's not impressive anymore. So, yes, it takes a little bit of time to, and with the American culture, there are certain things you have to understand. Like they won't understand how can a doctor work in the morning in a hospital and the evening run a private practice. It's like very difficult for them. And I tell people better not to explain them. So, Doc, for people who are currently applying, or because right now it's December, right? It's
Mhm.
interviews. Somebody called me today and say I want to apply for interviews and I want to learn about interviews. I said, well, interviews is something you can still prepare in a week or 2 week, but right now you need to figure out your personal statement, your resume, and you took a lot of different coachings. You took from me in the interview part. What would be your suggestion to people who are right now like applying for the first time, stressful, thinking about, who have given their exam but now preparing for March? Like, what would be your suggestion for those people who are right now thinking about March and applying for the first time?
I think search the right person. You like don't go to the random person for your SOP or for your other things. First search the right person, like who has the knowledge really, like who can help you really well, because you are going to invest in it. Because in my case, I would say obviously I got some help, and but still don't rely too much on them. I would say you also have to put some like from your side too. I haven't took any help in my supplemental application. Even in the SOP, yeah, I got some help, but they made it like some fancy words, and I was like, oh, I don't know the meaning and how I can like.
So didn't you ask them to change? Like when I work on personal statements, what I do now is I write a draft and I send it back to them. And the person says, okay, this line I like, this one I don't like, can we change? And I then change it back, send it, it's back and forth like 10 times, like a ping pong game. So didn't you do that with that person?
Because what happened in my case, I would say, because when I had first time conversation with them, they don't show much like confidence in me, which was like,
So
you are,
why weren't you, why?
because I'm like introvert person. I don't know how to explain myself better, or because at that time I was not good in speaking, I would say. Like how to impress, like express myself, and how to ask for the things, and which was like, and luckily my husband, he did all that part. He helped me in all the process, in supplemental applications, in like SOP. We just made a drafter, and we removed all that fancy words. We rewrite my SOP.
Yeah, so people who are taking help right now, one of the suggestion I'll say, and when I work with people, I tell people like you're not gonna like what you get in the start, and you have to write down or write your comments and send it back, and it's gonna be back and forth like a, you know how people get tailored clothes in India, Pakistan. You go to the
Yeah.
tailor, to the darzi, and you tell him I don't like from here, and then they fix it, and then go back until you like your thing. So the
Because
next
in my case,
question.
I haven't found you earlier, because I already applied. When I searched, I like came to know you. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it was good. I think God had His own plan, and you got where you wanted. But when you were looking for, so from when I listened to your story as compared to other people, God bless you in a situation where you had the finances to apply to more places, take help. Now, when you say, like, for somebody, for example, there's a person coming from India, from Punjab, but his finances are a little bit limited. And if they have to look for help at this point, what would be good ways to search for help and make sure this is the right person to work with?
I think search like from maybe consult with other people from your friends. I got to know you. One of my friend like told about you that you are giving such kind of sessions, interview sessions, and they are really good. So I reached out to you, and I also saw your Instagram account. And I would say save on funds. Even I don't have that much funds. Even we took some credit.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
comparatively, I'm just using the word God blessed you. I use this word blessed you because sometimes it's just a blessing that things come to you and you invested. That's the way to look at it.
because I think if you want to get that, because I remember my husband was preparing for the things, even for the like next cycle. He was like motivating me, if you don't get this time, okay, you should go for a master, or you should do
That's very
preceptorship.
good.
And I was like, no, I can't go for all these things, because especially for the, because I realized even in my cycle, one was the lacking point, that I don't have any post graduation, I don't have any master, but still I got acceptance.
Because
And
you had a lot of good experience. So what I tell people, like in Colorado, if there are 40 people, there are 3 people who are fresh grad, 4 people who have PhDs, 4 have masters, 4 have dental assisting. So I think one way or another, they don't pick only one kind of person,
mhm,
but you had your own good experience up there. So
definitely.
pretty much, I'm pretty impressed with your husband. If he's watching this, like he did a pretty good job.
Good
It's
job.
so
Yeah.
hands off to him too, because this is very stressful. And no, I totally understand. We immigrants overall, like there's always financial constraint, but having that bravery, like have being brave about, okay, I'm going in and I'm gonna go in all in, we'll see if we have to take credit. So that's a pretty positive way. Like I tell people, if you're gonna jump in the water, don't worry about getting wet now, because if you're going in, think about getting to the other side of the coast. That's how people win. That's the mindset of people who win, because when they go in, they are not thinking about other things, they are mainly thinking about how to get the job done. And your husband and you guys, I think, planned it pretty well. So here's the, if there's anything else you want to, and my this video mainly I'm making for people who are currently preparing. I The main job is to give them the right mindset. The reason I tell people, like nowadays a lot of people who reach out to me for help, I tell them go and watch like a couple of videos, get your mind, like get the mindset, and then think if you want to take help or not, because the mindset is the thing. So just to ask you one more question, any other advice from a stress point of view, and from being a mother point of view, from a family working as dental assistant, any other thing that you would advise to people who are preparing, any other thing you want to tell them?
Yeah, I would say just try to stay in the loop. Let We are going to apply. Keep on doing one thing at one time. Don't just think about, okay, I'm going to apply without any completing anything. Just do one thing at one time. Like I even till March, I told you I haven't given my TOEFL yet. When I got my score what I wanted, I just then start applying. First, I thought I will apply to like 20 schools, but when I was like, okay, then don't leave that all other 10 schools, just go for it. Don't give it like I would say with a half-hearted, go with a full plan. Okay, you're going to get it. And what helped me to stay in that loop, just whenever you like, I would say when you have exams, what do? You like off your TV, or you take a break from your friends and start concentrating on that thing. Same thing I did. I haven't attended any party. I haven't attended any family gathering, nothing at all, because I want to like be in that loop. And so because I don't want any unwanted questions, because
Okay,
some things it give you stress.
one thing I'll tell you just from my experience, before your school starts, and this time enjoy as much as you can, because
I'm
dental
doing.
school is like a pressure cooker. Once you go
Yeah.
in, you're going to be boiling for next like 2.5 years. So enjoy this time. This never comes back. And the other people who are watching, one of the very important points she mentioned is that once you take, like, there's a technique called chunking in marathon. Like if you have a 50-mile marathon, they say think about 1 mile at a time and follow that. Finish that 1 mile, then think about the other. Otherwise, if you start thinking about the whole journey, it will overwhelm you. So that's a very important point that you mentioned. And overall, staying positive, staying with the right kind of people, and working hard and going all in. That's very important. There's a saying I read which says fortune favors the brave, people who are brave enough to go all in. That really makes a difference. So, well, thank you, Doc, for your time. And I think this is very fruitful or productive information for a lot of new people who are applying, and encouragement, especially for mothers, especially for women. And I would also say to people, if you're looking for help, guidance, you can watch more of my videos. I'll post it somewhere up here on YouTube. And if you need help, guidance, my contact will be in description. And I wish Dr. Shilpa all the best to you, and thank you for your help. And hopefully we'll see you at some conference or at some school at some time, and all the best and congrats to your family as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much, doctor.
Sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you, doctor.